Hello, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me for another episode at the CSM Practice YouTube channel and podcast, where we talk about strategies and playbooks that you can incorporate to your business so that you could have more upsells, a better healthy cash flow. And a lot of the times it has to do with customer success methodologies that swarmed and tilted the business community into doing things a little better, being more customer centric. And when we talk about customer centricity, you can't do that if you don't collect customer feedback now, can you? Thing is, we've been doing customer feedback and customer surveys for a very, very long time now. I wonder though, with the disruption of so many AI tools and capabilities, how does that impact the way we should approach collecting customer feedback going forward? And so I have a very special guest today. Her name is Lihong Hicken. She's the CEO and co-founder of 𝐇𝐈𝐆𝐇𝐋𝐈𝐆𝐇𝐓𝒄𝐄e.
Thank you, Iris, for inviting me. I'm a CEO of a company called 𝐇𝐈𝐆𝐇𝐋𝐈𝐆𝐇𝐓𝒄𝐄e, and we are the world's first AI survey. So I can claim that, make a bold statement here, and then I'll accept your drilling to see if we qualify for that title.
I've been coaching my customers. I've been in this business of helping CEOs and COOs and businesses on getting better at creating a very healthy customer base. And one of the ways that we do that is we become very customer centric, and we do that by collecting customer feedback. And I've been working on defining customer surveys for a very long time now. If I am a CEO and I'm using AI for my surveys, what does that open up for me that I didn't have before? We can compartmentalize it and categorize it as, well, it could be productivity, it could help you with this or that, but that's more of the how to. I want to know, like, as a CEO, why should I even bother with AI for surveys?
Well, number one is engagement. You will have create better customer experience, better engagement with your customer. Number two is revenue. Traditional surveys or one-on-one meetings you have with the customer to gather feedback. You set your upsell time right before your renewal is coming. Why can't we have your entire customer journey as a time like we're ready for upsell? We're ready to provide you better feature, more services, better experiences. So that's the revenue. A third thing is efficiency. There's a lot of manual work that human has to do. Sometimes we say, hey, we're customer success, we're not support. We want to do strategic things. But without some of the basic manual work being handled by AI, CSMs cannot be strategic. So that's the three things is those better customer experience, revenue, throughout the whole life cycle, and then efficiency. Enable your team to be more strategic and get rid of the manual work.
Why does AI or AI capability for surveys are better suited to get to those outcomes? That's what I would want to know. Before we dive into that, you talk about there's two different types of ways of integrating AI into survey solutions. Maybe you can talk about the two different approaches you see in the market.
It's usually unique to the company's DNA. I've only seen three companies do AI related features. One is us, one is Typeform, one is SurveyMonkey. And SurveyMonkey is the most basic ones. Like, we'll help you come up with a second question. That's pretty lame. Kind of like check the box, like we have AI. But I think maybe they'll build more on it. Typeform is interesting because they are famous for, we are the beautiful form. So they use the AI to make the branding beautiful. Like, we'll grab your branding using AI on brand in seconds. That's what they're doing. For us, we are a very customer-centric company. Traditional survey company focus 100% on the survey creator's experience. And we are the first one focus a lot on the survey taker's experience. Because at the end of the day, today, the biggest problem with survey is your customer would not take your survey. And part of it is because you ask bad questions, part of it is wrong timing, and part of it is like no one close the loop. Customer feel like, hey, if my feedback is going to a place where dreams die, why would I give you feedback? Why should I? You do nothing about my feedback. So we want to address these head on creating a better customer experience, the best experience for survey takers. Number one is that we don't ask for this boring long form question that you will vomit on. Every question is just one question and it's tailored to you at that right moment. And then secondly, we train the AI on company content. So one of the biggest problem is that when you send a survey to customers or NPS or CSAT or whatever question, then you see customer give you low rating. and don't have a lot of context. Then you'll have people call it the NPS season or the survey season. The customer facing teams pick up the phone and call people like, hey, why did you rate me so low? Or they'll reach them on LinkedIn and email. There's a lot of chasing down. And the customer say, I don't remember. It was 2 days. Maybe I was in bad mood. So it's not great. But if you don't follow up with that, they feel like you don't care. So it's kind of chicken and egg thing. We solve this problem by solving we have an AI bot that's trained by your company information, where when customer answer the questions, like, how likely are you gonna recommend customer success practice? I would say 5. And then you're like, why? I thought we are friends. We like each other, all right? The AI would say, well, tell me more about what you like, what you don't like. I would say, I love it. It's just I don't have friends that's in CS. The AI will be real time drill into the details of like why they're doing it.
The first thing we talked about the business outcomes, and I kind of wanted to know how to tie it all together. I think you said that if you have a survey that's an AI driven survey, you're going to get better engagement with the customers, you're going to get more revenues, and you're going to elevate the efficiency of the team. With the better engagement, I think one of the things that you mentioned is, hey, this AI survey is going to come up with additional questions that kind of like dig in, sort of like do automated discovery while the survey is happening based on the answers. So no more logic questions. The AI is going to come up with the logic on its own on the fly.
On the fly. It has empathy. So one thing is like now that I'm doing a lot of AI surveys, I got spoiled because no matter how I complain, AI is so patient. Like, I totally understand their frustration, Lihong. And then it offers solution right away. The things you're concerned about, we are actually rolling out this. Watch this tutorial. You say, yeah, that makes sense. Besides the AI does the digging, another thing that's important is that traditional surveys, the survey takers are expected to answer the questions only. But in the AI service, the survey taker can ask AI back question. You're like, hey, I have a concern signing up this product, and my concern is XYZ. What's your return policy? Or what's your money back policy? It can tell you what that is. And AI will do its best to get as much as booking you meetings on your calendar to like providing you information on pricing and stuff. Do 90% of the closing the loop with the customer, serve them real time. And if you have a calendar link on your website, it will serve like, hey, detailed pricing can be provided by my team. He's available at this time. Would you want me to book you a meeting? So that's kind of the experience that no one has today, because I don't know how many times you have go to the website and there's a pop-up where you chat with them and you chat with them, you tell them their problem. They were like, well, I'm on the whatever site. I'm not on this product site. So let me pass you to this coworker or that. So I was like, man, I'm a customer. I don't care about your departments. I just care about you are the company. I just want to talk to one guy that can solve my problem. So in that sense, like because it's real time, it does the probing, it has all the things, and then the CSMs come in with a strategic solution. You've already know what their concern is. You have already know what question they ask the AI, which shows their buying intent. You will already know the history conversation. By the time you show up, you can be the hero.
To increase engagement during the survey, when it's an AI enabled survey, a true AI survey, we don't need to design all the questions in advance because it's going to be a very dynamic survey where the AI will continue to dig in and ask discovery questions based on the answers, the initial answers they capture from the customer. It will do so with empathy. It would even give them suggestions for solutions, for ideas, and then even give the customer the opportunity to ask additional clarifying questions about those suggestions. Or if you have a book a meeting with a CSM on your website, it'll give him that link. So that kind of ties back to your second point. Can you create more revenues? Because every meeting, if there was a suggestion, we can sell more services, more features, modules, and even products that we have in our portfolio to increase upsell.
Yeah, totally. So our idea is like instead of asking these long form survey questions with 50 questions, we chop it down and then we bring it into the customer journey. And traditionally, you will ask about upsell questions right around your renewal time. And I asked some of the account managers, like, what are the best upsell questions? So to give you examples, I don't know if you know a company called Carda. They're like, oh, if the company have these simple things, they will have upsell signal. Number one is like if they are going to hire a CFO, new team member, if they're going to have a regulation approval or audit, if they are going to raise another funding. So we're going to ask them questions like, hey, how likely to hire a CFO in the next near future? Those are information you can't know anywhere. Then they will tell you, and based on that, they will like, hey, when you have a CFO, it triggers this insurance, it triggers this term, whatever, you need to watch out for that. So you can actually get it either through your lawyer, which is 10 times more expensive, or you can get it through Carda. I feel like one is unbiased. Two, as a survey taker, I control my direction, what topic I want to ask. So think about this. Now each of these survey experience becomes a way for survey takers to create their own personal experience.
You talked before about sprinkling that survey throughout the year, not, when there's indication that there could be an upsell or just before renewal or right after some other milestone. Tell me about that. What have you seen works best? How do you sprinkle it throughout the journey?
Yeah, totally. I've seen a lot of companies say our different department use different survey tools. Marketing uses this, product uses Pendo pop-up, CS uses Zendesk, support uses Zendesk, CS uses Gainsight, whatever. And then all these data live in different place. So you can't have a cohesive decision. So my idea is like, let's say you have a newsletter that's engaging your audience. You can ask them to give feedback of your newsletter. How do we do today? So instead of collecting feedback as a one-time event, you do it once a year, twice a year, you're always listening to your customer about specific feedback. And you can actually do it through your newsletter, either Hotspot, MailChimp, Klaviyo, or Beehive. Just embed HTML code in there. So at the bottom of your newsletter, you always ask people, how do we do? Okay, that's one way of engaging not just your customer, but your audience. And then you can make adjustment to make content that's more engaging for them. But if you have already have content in the past that they are interested, AI can say, oh, the content you are interested, 2 episodes ago, it was here. Would you like this link? So their needs is met immediately. Another example is like I'm on my website, maybe on a pricing page. I'm going to put in a question. How likely are you going to try they set? It's a relevant question. I'm going to ask on our integration page, how satisfied are you with a variety of integrations? And if they say they are not satisfied, we can ask them what integration they need. And so we can build according to that. The location I'm in is a co-working place. They want to know how satisfied are people with the cleanliness of the location. So why do you send them an email to ask them? Just put a QR code, the location, and you can scan it. If you're doing a webinar or like a physical event meetup, you can pull it up on a big screen and people can scan it and immediately do a quick poll.
I want to clarify. And all these links send them to the same survey. That's the brilliance of it. Have you just killed multi-survey efforts?
I don't know. I mean, I just think it makes sense. And then, for example, like it's hard when you say, "Oh, our product team uses Pendo or Miss Panel to pop up NPS." Great, you keep using Pendo. Pendo has a lot of functionality on like only show the AI customer who have used AI feature in the next 2 weeks, for example. Great, you swap out the NPS question that Pendo was going to ask and replace it with they said AI NPS. So you don't need to baby it after you get the response.
So the URL is unique to say what is the first question that's going to be asked. But after that, you let AI do its thing.
With that, the survey taker determine what
Take
experience
her
you
do
wanted.
its thing.
Yeah.
Wow. First of all, I'm kind of stoked. I want to try it out. This is kind of like brilliant.
We actually have a few surveys out there. So, for example, we trained AI using the Paris Olympic website. We can ask them, how satisfied are you with the opening ceremony? It's very controversial, by the way. We trained AI on DonaldJTrump.com and used to be Biden, but now Harris have a website too. So we can ask them, how likely are you going to vote Biden for president or Trump for president? You can do it. And I did it myself because I can't decide. Sometimes I feel like you can't talk politics in the public. and it's considered not good. But I want to know more information. So I talk to the AI. It won't be offended. It won't judge me. So I can ask any question. I ask, what's Trump's policy in China? And then the AI will pull up information because it knows what's going on. So I actually did a real live conversation. It helped me know. I didn't even know Trump at first back then didn't have a VP. And that's something I didn't know. And then the AI told me.
Well, if the customer is driving the conversation, it's no longer a survey. The survey means that I'm the one asking the questions and collecting data from the customer. It's completely shift in the way we're thinking. How do I make sure that I do collect the information that I want? Like, at what point does the AI release the control back to the customer? Because you said, well, if my goal for the survey is to identify whether all these upsell triggers actually exist at the moment.
Yeah, I see your concern. You're like, well, we don't. We kind of want some control to know the question I want. So typically, what will happen is that because the first question is determined by you, customer has to answer that question, and they drove in. When the AI feel like they have already all the question they needed, they will ask, "Hey, do you have any question you can ask me?" That's when it transits. And what I found is when people started proactively looking and asking questions, sometimes these conversations would trigger sales opportunities because the only people with buyer intent will ask this kind of questions. So that's why when I said revenue doesn't have to be at the end of renewal, can be throughout the whole entire engagement cycle with your customers.
You keep saying, hey, we trained the AI on this, we trained the AI on that. What does the training involve? How long does it take? If you were to do a survey for me, what would you train it on?
So you would go to AI the latest at the IO sign up account. I give my chief product officer, who used to be head of CS, a job. I said, I'm probably the laziest people you have seen. I want to be onboarded with 3 clicks and no keyboard. And he was like, oh, this is impossible. And we did it. So let's say I copy paste your URL. I sign in account via Google, 1 click sign up account, and then pasting your company URL. If you have your blog post, podcast, everything in there, everything will be covered. Then hit generate survey questions. This is a process of training AI, a couple minutes, maybe 1 minute. We try to keep it under a minute. So the AI will learn what your company do, what industry you are in, what are some of the product you offer, what's your unique selling point. Because its goal is to retain the customer and sell them more. So you need to know what you sell and what is your unique selling point. And then from there, it will recommend a set of questions you can trigger, sprinkle into the journey. So you don't need to come up with your own question. It will know what question you should ask. I talk to a lot of people, their job title is the head of voice of customer. They were like, how did you know this question so well? At first, they think we staged the demo. They think they must made up these demo just for us. So they actually went and tried 5 other companies that they previously worked at and say, oh, holy shit, this is legit. It asked all the questions our internal team was talking about. How do they know? It does a good job of asking journey-based questions. It'll give you like 7, 8 suggestions you can sprinkle out in different part of the experience. And we give you industry question as well, like NPS, CSAT, CES, and product market fit score. Even they said customer perceived value score is there as well. So the idea is like those normal NPS questions are NPS. I would say our NPS question is AI NPS because it's an NPS question that can talk back and relate and have empathy.
So you collect all this information, you have a chit chat with the prospect or the customer. You said that this also generates a lot of revenues. And I guess that's because one of the questions could be, hey, these are the pricing. Do you want to talk to somebody? And they give them the link, and then all of a sudden you have a lead. You talk about efficiency, and you said, well, they get a lot of insights. Where's the chit chat between the AI and the customer goes into? And who analyzes that conversation and who calls out what's the call to action for the CSM to take on?
To me, I think the customer insight, either from survey or calls, is like iceberg. Your scoring is only tip of it, and there's a lot of manual digging you had to do before AI. You had to manually follow up to get the context. You had to massage the data and come up with reporting and do all that stuff, and that's why people call it the survey season and NPS season. You don't do it often because it's manual work. Whereas our solution is like we collect the insights continuously. So if your question is on your website, if your question is on your newsletter to ask content feedback on this, it's on the journey that the customer is meant to pass through at the right time. So it's always collecting the feedback. And the AI will actually summarize the conversation for you. It will give you highlights of summaries, like points, and then you will summarize these are the conversations you have negative customers, and they will give you different category. One is like a potential loss of customer, or a growth opportunity, meaning like this has revenue in it. Take a look. Yeah, some of them might require follow up because customers say they need to talk to a human, something. So then you can actually see like the benefit is 95% of the work is being closed by the AI real time, and all the goodies is left for a human to come in to be the hero, strategic person coming in, close the revenue done. Because sometimes I feel like the CSM is too shy to ask the right question. They know what to do.
Thousands of customers. I only own 30. Well, now I need to follow up with every single one of them. That's a lot. And sometimes I don't feel comfortable asking those questions. By the way, I had other videos where we interviewed about the surveys for customers, and getting 16% engagement level is high. And they were only able to do that when the customer actually started, instigated as an in-app message. That's how they quadrupled the amount of engagement. What is your secret sauce? Because you talk about, hey, let me add this link in the newsletter or this link in the website. But if I'm a CSM, most of my customers are logging into my application, or maybe they open up emails from me. But what you got for us?
You need to communicate with customers. Hey, we're going to send these questions to understand you better and help you that. One thing is like a lot of customer might have concern about, is this safe? So one thing was like definitely safe. Number one, we don't use your responses for AI training. We don't train with your data. Two, is by default anonymous unless they want to share information and they want you to contact.
Can you do the survey from an in-app message?
Yes, that's common. So the in-app one can be using an iframe code or whatever your in-app pop-up that you have, and we just replace that content in there. So it's actually very common. I would say in-app one, you get very specific feedback of certain feature. So you can say, I only want to survey people who have used this feature in the last 2 months or 2 weeks. And then you ask that feature specific. So you ask less number of people, but you get more specific feedback to what you want.
I think this is brilliant. First of all, because you take away from the pressure of CX experts to come up with a survey that would actually be a successful experience for those who take them. Not too many questions, not too heavy questions. You train it and the AI comes up. We could just tweak it a little bit and then off it goes. You take away from the heavy lifting of analyzing the responses. I know for a fact, just a few years ago, I had a client and they literally said we do it once a year. Takes about 3 to 4 weeks to analyze all the data, find the time for everybody to get together and see the results, and then come up with action items. And then I said, well, do you even send the results to anybody else besides the executive team? And they said, no, we don't have time for that. So the CSMs never get preview to the data. Of course, there's some CSPs now that solve for that, but still, I mean, this is a game changer.
That's why when people say the customer insight is important, but why do you not do it often? It's because it is pretty painful. And that's why you do it once a year or twice a year. Our approach is like do small bites. And we're always biting, we're always listening, we're always engaging with your customers. It's also adopting more of the agile process. Like we want to learn quickly from your customers and we want to take action quickly rather than like once a year by the time the feedback's already stale.
This was pretty revealing. I think we just heard the first milestone in killing surveys the way we know it forever. The new emergence of AI based bot like surveys. I think it's yet to come to see the big difference that it makes. I think in a year or two from now, and if you and I meet, we'll see where the market takes it. But the promise is huge. And I see how CX teams could be excited about this.
It allows them to be more strategic, which is what they have been asking for years. They like CS are not everything department. They can't do everything. You can be strategic if you are bogged down by all these manual work. So that AI take over the low level collecting information, and that CSM be the star, the boss, coming in and take initiative on the customer engagement.
Listen, you know what I think? I think it resolves the problem of the long tail. And a lot of people this year are looking for long tail customer based solutions because you can't hire enough CSMs. They don't have time to talk to so many customers. So if I sprinkle a link with the right question all over the engagement and listening posts of those customers, I'm more likely to create a valuable engagement with them and collect upsell opportunities, or CSQLs as we like to call them. Automatically, it resolves the dependency on hire a large team for that smaller cohort. So I think even though it has immense benefit to mid touch and high touch, I think it solves a big problem for the long tail customer base.
I think our previous product, which is the same product but not AI version, I mean, ClickUp was using that tool for their long tail customers, and every day they're saving and upgrading two customers. So that's amazing. But one of their complaint was same thing, like, well, we had to manually reach out and close the loop. But now with AI, they can just send a link and click upgrade right there.
What a great ROI story and technology shift. This was awesome. Leon, I always enjoy meeting with you. You're such a trailblazer. Nothing can stop you. You have the most amount of grit of any woman that I have ever met. I think that I really love the direction that you're taking the company and how you're leveraging groundbreaking technology to level set what we should be expecting from survey solutions. And I know this sounded a little bit like a commercial, but honestly, I'm just happy you came and I'm happy to educate the business community on what's available out there. And you shouldn't be doing business like it's 1984.
Yeah, totally. And then we plan to roll it out to most customers free, and then maybe 10% will pay. So
Hey, if you got inspired, Lihong is here to wreck your survey world, rock how often you ask for feedback, how often do you get CSQL from your long tail customer base. It's just launched, seems like. And so Lihong would be happy to take care of you. And if you're watching this 2 years after it launched, then still reach out to her, check it out, see how far they've probably took that product out. This is so awesome because I feel like we captured it very early stage, and what an amazing opportunity. Maybe like in 3 years from now people are watching this video and they're like, oh yeah, everybody does that now.
yeah,
We have it on recording that Li Hong was the first.
I was saying like right now people will be taking the survey like, oh, this survey talk back, I can talk it. And a lot of times people will use their phone and they'll click the microphone and they just talk back to, like, literally use a voice function to talk back to the survey. And then you can swap out language at mid-level. Like for me, I sometimes think in Chinese, in English, whatever. I can do it with AI. It's like genius. But I think in 3 years, people will say, hey, you know what? I seen a survey today that couldn't talk back.
That's what I'm saying. You're like putting everybody to shame. Once they get used to that experience, they will start to expect it. You're leveling up, increasing the bar. You're leveling up the standard. I wish you the best of luck, Li Hong. You're such an incredible woman. You're a visionary. You're a trendsetter. It was an honor having you on this show, and I'm happy to support you in this. And hopefully, everybody that's listening, if you want to take your customer feedback game to a whole different level, put your competitors up to shame. Why don't they have that kind of survey and customer experience?
It's a different survey. Like I think we cannot replace the long, boring form 50 question. If you are someone who focus on the survey creator experience, there's 10, 20, 30 different kinds of surveys out there, but we are the only one focused on the survey taker's experience because we want to get a lot of insights.
Yeah, but listen, that's what I'm talking about. If you look at the quadrant of customer success, it's all about customer experience and customer outcomes. This is a way to up level the customer experience for everyone, not just the long cohort, but certainly in the long cohort. And so once the customer is expecting that level of experience, your competitors look arcane, look like they're still stuck in 1984 and not up leveling anything. A great way to have a quick win.
Sounds good. If you are interested, go to theysaid.io, sign up a free account. 90% of people should use for free. If you're one of the few 10% that gets lots of responses, that's a good problem to have.
Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much, Li Hong. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I know I did. I always love learning about new technologies and trendsetters. This was one of it. If you like what you heard, go to theysay.io. And if you wanted to join my new mastermind, the customer method, where you can get support, it's mainly for business owners and business executives, mostly tech companies and services that work with tech companies. I would love to have you in. And with that, it's a wrap, and I'll see you on the next episode.